Welcome to this explainer. Whenever Area 51 pops up in the news, we're instantly hit with a tidal wave of wild stories and endless speculation. But today we're totally bypassing the rumors. We're going to focus strictly on documentable physical evidence. We're looking at a recent, highly documented expedition to the Nevada Test and Training Range just to see what's actually out there, literally hiding in plain sight.
Okay, so let's dive right into this by acknowledging the massive hype lately around Luigi Venatelli's Bob Lazar film. The whole UFO community has been buzzing about this supposed underground facility called S4, which was supposedly built right into a hillside and allegedly holds 9 flying discs. But here is the absolute core question for us today. Can we actually verify any of these spectacular claims from the extreme distances you have to be at just to look into these highly restricted military zones?
Here's our itinerary for today's explainer. First, the Area 51 expedition. 2. Searching for S4. 3. The Camo Dude encounter. 4. Ascending no-name peak. 5. Inside Area 51 operations. And finally, 6. The Bob Lazar legend. Let's get right into it.
Part 1, the Area 51 expedition. Now, this expedition route isn't just a casual drive down the highway. It takes a really layered approach. Starting past Creech Air Force Base, where, Reaper drones are literally circling overhead, the team begins with daytime observations from Mount Sterling. From there, they move down into the Tikaboo Valley for some pretty tense night reconnaissance, before finally pushing up into a seriously grueling, unpredictable mountain climb. It's an extreme, dedicated process just to gather some open-source intelligence. Moving on to Part 2, searching for S4. Notice this massive number 46. Okay, so Mount Sterling does provide a view of the Papoose dry lake bed, sure, but we are talking about a staggering distance of 46 miles away. I mean, just imagine trying to spot a hidden hangar door through 46 miles of thick atmospheric haze. Even using extreme telephoto lenses and heavily adjusting the contrast, the perspective completely flattens out, which makes it incredibly difficult to decipher any small, ground-level details.
And honestly, that extreme distance directly leads us to this fascinating psychological phenomenon, pareidolia. When you're looking at heavily cropped, artificially contrast-adjusted photos, like the ones they presented as new evidence in that recent S4 film, our brains naturally try to find familiar shapes. It completely explains why people might genuinely believe they're seeing highly camouflaged hangar doors, when really, the imagery is just a heavily artifacted mashup of Joshua trees and natural cracks in the desert ground.
And this perfectly illustrates the massive divide between the lore and the tangible reality you can actually see through those lenses. The S4 story claims heavily hidden infrastructure and white employee buses dropping off workers. But the documentable reality? We literally just see Joshua trees, the natural desert landscape, and, well, occasional tire tracks. But, as documented by former base security, military personnel do occasionally drive out to Papoose Lake just to run routine shooting drills. So, seeing tire tracks in the dirt doesn't automatically mean there's a secret saucer base down there.
Let's hit Part 3, the Camo Dude encounter.
So down in the Tikaboo Valley at night, the explorer actually met up with the Project Fear crew to deal with the infamous perimeter security. We're talking about the Camo Dudes. This anonymous private security force absolutely loves a sudden show of intimidation, blasting sirens, doing unlit drive-bys in the pitch dark, the whole shebang. But here's the really fascinating reality about them. They are actually highly predictable. If you flip the script, stay perfectly legal on public land, and actually start walking toward their vehicles, they almost always just throw it in reverse and retreat right back into the shadows.
Part 4, ascending no-name peak.
Getting eyes on the base is definitely not easy, and it requires some intense physical endurance. Rather than using the more popular Tikaboo Peak, which is actually monitored by base weather station cameras, this expedition specifically targeted no-name peak. This meant a 4:30 a.m. start in the pitch dark. We're talking 1.5 miles with absolutely no marked trail, forcing the hikers to bushwhack and scramble up loose rock. And just to make it a true test of will, the weather suddenly turned, completely trapping the explorer in zero-visibility blizzard conditions right near the summit. Crazy, right?
Moving to Part 5, inside Area 51 operations. Now this is where the physical evidence takes center stage. We aren't looking at myths here. We are verifying highly active terrestrial operations. The footage literally captures the famous Janet 737 passenger flights touching down, dropping off civilian contractors coming in from Harry Reid Airport. We can clearly spot the massive RCS range antennas used for radar testing, logistical trucks heading toward the Rachel Gate,
the iconic Hangar 18, and even active vehicle movement around a newer hangar built back in 2014, which was specifically constructed to house sensitive aircraft. The base is absolutely alive, well, and incredibly busy.
Finally, Part 6, the Bob Lazar legend.
You really just can't discuss Area 51 without confronting the Bob Lazar story, can you? It's such a fascinating dichotomy. On one hand, you've got massive hurdles for skeptics, like glaring inconsistencies in his educational background and financial history that make it super difficult to buy into the core UFO claims. But on the other side of the coin, it is an undeniable, documented fact that Lazar possessed incredibly accurate, non-public details about base operations way before they entered the public zeitgeist. I mean, he knew about the Janet flights. He knew about the EG&G operations. He had verified insider knowledge, which he clearly used to craft a deeply compelling narrative.
And that leads us to this philosophical takeaway from Area 51 researcher Glenn Campbell. It perfectly captures why this stretch of Nevada desert matters so much. He points out that even if no secret saucer base ever existed out there, just the fact that something this important could be effectively hidden is disturbing in itself. Whether the story of S4 is genuine or just a brilliantly constructed piece of fiction leveraging overheard secrets, the sheer scale of secrecy achieved by the United States military is breathtaking. Creating a space where something that massive could theoretically be hidden is an incredible and, honestly, somewhat unsettling feat.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this thought to ponder. We've looked at the documentable evidence, the active hangars, the intense perimeter security. If the alien saucers at Papoose Lake are nothing more than modern mythology, just a product of pareidolia and tall tales, then what highly classified reality, what next generation of human innovation is the military actually pouring billions of dollars into hiding out there in the desert? Keep questioning, keep looking at the evidence, and never stop wondering what lies just beyond those mountains.